guys, this is Heat King here, bringing you another video on my Resident Evil retrospect. So as of today, we only have really one more week to go before the game finally comes out. Though to be quite honest, it's already out in some countries, mainly the Middle East. Thank you, Middle East, for always getting your Resident Evil games first. And yeah, there's been tons of spoilers and leaks for the game already, so yeah, and I couldn't help myself, and I've seen some videos which I'll be going over in terms of my final thoughts and what I think, but I won't be spoiling anything. Today's topic, on the other hand, will be regarding the side games. Now, if you remember, I did a video about like 2 videos back or 1 video back where I discussed what the canon games were. And I pointed out that there's no way Survivor or Dead Aim or the Outbreaks could be canon because they're not really referenced or mentioned in any of the main numbered titles, really. Like, it's just like forgotten little games that, hardly a lot of people would have played at the time, right? Right? No, it seems I was very wrong on that matter. Wow, look at me, I'm always knowledgeable about this stuff more than other people, and I got this very, very wrong. That said, these games aren't that important in order to understand the bigger mythologies of the game. Really, the ones I listed in the canons are the ones you would want to play in order to understand the overall big scope of the story. But these games do provide a lot of insight, which I am happy about because for the most part they were deep, at least the ones I played anyway. I never did play Outbreak 1 or Dead Aim, which I wish I had at the time. But they are important in their own way, and I'm glad that they are technically canon. So, for example, and this is thanks to a user called TheFatBatMan. Thank you for that, by the way. So yes, Resident Evil Survivor or Gun Survivor is technically canon because yes, I did mention its reference in Resident Evil 0. But because of the lack of references thereafter, I just presumed it couldn't be, especially with the fact that Umbrella Chronicles went into such an extent to explain where the tyrants came from, only for, to kind of just shy away from the fact that, oh no, it was, the tyrants didn't come from the Shia Island with the children but no, it is canon. Those events are still canon. And it is mentioned in the archive books, which are still, thank God, canon to this day. The archive Resident Evil books that you can get. Dead Aim. Now this one is a bit more confusing because, again, besides the little reference you get in Resident Evil Dead Aim regarding the African connection, which was obviously seen as a setup to Resident Evil 5, it's never, other than that, it's never been really brought up or mentioned. But no, apparently Wesker's extra report, which I've never heard of, surprisingly, I mean I've heard of all the other reports, but no, there's an extra report that does in fact reference Dead Aim, and rightfully so, because it was a sort of important element of the backstory, if I remember, because Morpheus, the villain of the game, was the guy who was set up to be the one that was behind the Raccoon City incident, right? The one who sent the troops, but really it wasn't him, it was Christina Henry, I believe. I'm a bit confused on that because there's a lot of things you wouldn't know about the series unless you read all the extra material that's out there. For example, I think you can find the information regarding Dead Aim's canon inside at least what it's referenced. It's referenced in the Inside of Biohazard Darkside Chronicles Timeline. I'm not sure what that is, if that's a book, in which case, yeah, I can see that being a possibility, because if you guys remember, I did another video as well discussing whether Company S was now reconned into being Shinya, or if it was and still is Tricell. And because originally it was meant to be, Tricell was originally meant to be called Seashell, and the reason people found this out is because if you get the Degeneration art book, or the making of Degeneration, I'm a bit confused on that myself again, it does mention in that book that Tricell was called Seashell at the time. So now that's how people connect the dots with Company S being Tricell from 4 to 5. But obviously my video was just discussing the possibility whether or not it was reconned or not. Well, no, the same way that book pretty much confirms that, I guess this is a book that confirms this. So again, there's all this extra material you'd have to go out and find in order to make these connections, which is great in my opinion, but it also leaves me a bit disappointed because if you've got all these characters, right, that are connected to Leon, with Ark Thompson being Leon's friend, I believe, and in this character who was in the same organization, what's his name, Bruce McGivern, who was in the same organization as Leon, the anti-Umbrella pursuit and investigation team. It's a bit confusing why they didn't just bring these characters back, for example, for Resident Evil 4. Like, instead of Jack Krauser, we could have had Bruce McGivern or Octopus like turning Treya or something, or being undercover, and that way you could have had a connection to these games with that game. It's just confusing. You got all these characters that Capcom could use, and they don't. Next up, the Outbreak games. Yeah, the Outbreak games are canon, which is weird. I did look it up afterwards, and yeah, the daylight vaccine that's discovered in the, I believe the I don't know if it's Outbreak File 1 or File 2. But yeah, the daylight vaccine is referenced in the Morihara Desire manga, which is weird because I read the Morihara Desire manga and I don't remember that. Maybe because I played those Outbreak games only I only played File 2 only once, I think, and that was years ago. So I wouldn't, to be honest, I wouldn't be that knowledgeable in all the affairs or little canon elements of that game. So my apologies for that. But yeah, it is canon, which is great. Which means that all the characters, or at least I imagine it's only some of the characters in the Outbreak games did survive and are instrumental in helping bring Umbrella down. But still, it's sort of weird that you've got all these witnesses, and yet it was Wesker's testimony from having stolen the Red Queen Day, I think, from REVII Chronicles, that he used in the trial against Umbrella to bring them down finally. So, I mean, just correct me if I'm wrong. Wouldn't the testimony of all these characters who survived Raccoon City be enough? I don't know, maybe there's lack of evidence in that, I guess, but still, it's a bit weird. But no, it's nice. It's nice that there's little information of that solidifies the development of other things that were set up in the next entries of the main storyline, like how Will Farmer was actually part of this whole scheme as well regarding the daylight vaccine and that, I guess. No, that's great, I think. That's great. Wesker's Report 1. Now, I do still remember Wesker's Report 1 being... It was non-canon, technically, because it does reference Leon A and Claire B as the canon scenario. And say what you will, but it doesn't change the fact that Umbrella Chronicles and Darkside Chronicles confirm Claire A and Leon B as the canon one. There is no, you know, all the canons are canon, like all the scenarios are canon, they're kind of jointing. No, that shit doesn't exist. I'm sorry. No, Claire A and Leon B is the canon version, okay? Because, you know, in those scenarios, Ben gets slashed across, which you can see in Darkside, which confirms it. Irons gets infected by the G embryo, not Ben, etc., etc. Ada doesn't fall from a catwalk. Sherry never meets her mom and that. No, they chose the specific moments and cutscenes from the Claire A and Leon B scenario, because that's the canon one. Sadly, because truth be told, I prefer Leon A and Claire B scenario a lot more than that triple crap. I mean, it's not bad, don't get me wrong, but there was a more subtle approach to that scenario than it was in the other one. I don't know, like, I'll go into that if I ever decide to review Resident Evil 2, but yeah, Wesker's Report 1 apparently was updated in 2003, which, yeah, it did remove certain elements regarding Wesker's organization having Sherry in that, which again would make sense, but it's a shame I've never seen that report again. I don't know where you would get. I don't know if that's the version that's included in Remake, in the Japanese version. I've got the Japanese version of Remake, and it's written in Japanese. Wesker's Report is written in I don't know if that's Wesker's Report 1 or Wesker's Report 2. I'm not too sure about that. Again, clarify for me. If someone could send me a link to the updated version of Wesker's Report, that would be great, along with the extra scenario. I would love to read this stuff and just you know, memorize myself with all of this, with all the canon materials and that. But yeah, like I said, I was completely wrong about these games not being canon. They are canon. And that said, I want remakes of these now. I do want remakes of this. I want a remake, especially of Survivor, because I feel like that's a game that could really be a good game to play as a remake, especially with the whole concept of the first person now being a thing in Resident Evil 7. They could do that, especially with Dead Game as well. And for the love of God, can you please make remastered versions of the Outbreak games now, and make a file free, if you will, Capcom. Thank you, that would be brilliant. Anyway guys, sorry if some of my information was wrong again. I'll probably post all of this stuff maybe in the description. Thanks to TheFatBatMan, user. Cheers for that. You have opened my eyes to the wonderful canon materials of the series, which is a lot to take in, but thank you nevertheless. And yeah, as always guys, like and subscribe, whatever, and I shall see you when I shall see you. Take care and bye.